Hi, and welcome to the Coaching Hour. My name's Paul Rotherham, and this podcast comes to you in partnership with Coaches Network South Africa. I'm joined, as always, by my co-hosts and members of Coaches Network South Africa, Mareka and Mary. And today we have a very special guest. I know that I shouldn't say this, but I'm going to, and I think I've said it before. Our guest today is probably my favorite guest of all time. A lovely gentleman, a man who is just so wise and beyond his years, forever friendly. And yes, Mareka, I will let you introduce who we're chatting with today on At the Coaching Hour.
Great, Paul. Thank you. Yes, it is with great pleasure that we again have Dr. Sepia van Eeden with us. Welcome, Sepia. It's always so nice to have you.
Thank you for inviting me again.
Good. Before we started, I was wondering how to introduce you because Sepia has a lot of hats that he wears. You can see from the certificates and everything there in the background. There's many different things that he does. And he also likes to collect very interesting things that we're going to talk about today. So thank you so much for joining us. We are talking about a topic that we have no clue what that is. We are talking about Rife Therapy, a spooky affair in the distance. Please enlighten us, Sepia. What is this all about?
So yeah, the spooky therapies or the Rife therapies have been around for many, many years. Dr. Raymond Rife was the founder of the system, and he found that if you could isolate the frequency of a pathogen, and you play that frequency back to it, you overload it, and you effectively kill a pathogen. So what he did initially was he used a plasma ball to send those frequencies into people, and he used it primarily to help people cure cancer.
Okay,
And
two steps back. What is,
two steps back.
Yes, what was the word that you used? A pathogen. Please explain us first.
Okay, so a pathogen would be a virus, a bad
Yes.
bacteria, a cancer cell,
Okay.
something that you do not want in your body. So anything bad, well, let's say everything has frequency. The fact that you are a human being, your body is because of the frequency at which these atoms vibrate and collect. And so Einstein said many things, but one of the things he said is the future of medicine is in frequencies.
Mm.
And that
Is
was
this a little bit,
post-Rife.
is this a little bit like noise cancellation in simple terms, where if you have a frequency and you basically play it out of phase, the two will cancel each other out?
Yes,
Same
yes.
sort of
So
thing.
it's exactly that concept. So
Okay.
the white noise that you create, if you play the inverse of the frequency, they cancel each other out. And I think Mary is at the moment a recipient of white noise because they use it at airports to negate the sound of the engines of the aircrafts.
Oh,
What?
I
Yes,
didn't know
Do they
that.
intentionally create white noise?
yes, yes.
I never knew that. Tell
Yeah.
me more.
So I'm not sure if it's done at every airport, but because the noise of the engines of the planes, it's a hell of a lot of noise that they create. So if they play that inverse, they then cancel out the most of the noise, and it's gentler on the people there's ears.
Wow. You know what I'd like at an airport is a way of cancelling out the noise of the people.
Yes.
We almost said cancel out the people, isn't it? So if you just there on your own and alone, that would be ideal. But
Yeah.
yes, it's all about frequencies and sounds. And in the years now after Dr. Rife, they've also found that you have the killing frequencies. There was a lady called Hulda Clark who also did a lot of killing and cancer therapy. But you also get healing frequencies. So you can change the frequencies to be additive rather than subtractive. And this is where the more modern Rife systems come in. They're not just focused on the frequency ranges that Dr. Rife had. They're much more open and much wider. And a lot of the research, of course, comes from Russia. And they have databases of frequencies and frequency sets that you can then use to have specific outcomes. The spooky affair is where it gets a bit esoteric. Is one of the systems that we use is the Spooky 2 system. That's my favorite one of the lot. And Einstein said, if you can prove the principle of quantum entanglement to be true, it will be a spooky affair at a distance. Now, quantum entanglement says if you have two atoms that are linked to each other and you split them, whatever you do to the one atom happens to the other atom wherever it is in the universe. And so,
Even though they're separated.
even though they're separated,
It's
because
kind of like twins. You get born and then one lives somewhere and one lives somewhere else, and they'll often report having the same experiences in some way or the same thoughts.
yes, yes.
Wow.
So that could be seen as one of the ideas of or ways that quantum entanglement presents itself. Uh, the whole idea of quantum mechanics or quantum theory is also, of course, that every atom in the universe is in constant and permanent communication with every other atom. And so distance does not truly matter.
Hmm.
And yeah.
When this comes to the application, though, because as Mareka was saying, you're a man with many hats, and that has nothing to do with your bald head. How does this work in reality? What do we do to be on the receiving end of this?
I need a DNA sample. And so the
Sure,
best
just a
samples
minute.
that we use. Well, you can post them to me. That actually works brilliantly well. So the samples that we use are nails, because the nail keeps the DNA locked in for a very long time. So I can use a nail sample for several years and treat a person. And what we then do is, I said it's a show and tell. So you have a little crocodile clamp and you put the nail sample in there. I usually put it between two stickers and just label it so that you know whose nails are lying around where. And you then connect it to your machine, and the specific device uses software that you then program, and it then sends those frequencies into the nails, and from there the person is treated. Now,
Sure.
it sounds very much like voodoo, and maybe
Hmm.
there's a thing to be said for voodoo because perhaps it works on the same principle. But I am by nature very cautious when I try new therapies because of the fact that we work in a practice that um, is oftentimes looked at under a microscope when it comes to legalities. And so I did quite a number of studies and I did quite a bit of research on this. And one of my friends has very bad kidneys, or a single kidney that is quite bad. And we put them on the machine for 30 days, and without changing anything other than putting the nails in the machine, kidney function improved by 12%.
What?
Wow.
So it's not,
Sure.
I'm feeling better. There was something that we could actually measure. So it's easy then to just get stuck on the idea of remote treatment. So remote treatment is the weakest of the modalities that you can do with the Rife therapy. You also
Sorry, I'm
get,
just going to, I want to jump in there because I think I may have missed something.
sure.
When you say you put the nail in the machine,
hmm
is that the method of treating? So the
hmm
patient isn't even there.
Nope. That's literally
Wow.
why you can
Okay.
post me your nails and I can treat you.
So my understanding, going back a couple of steps, and sorry, maybe it's just me, maybe I missed this. My understanding was the nail provides a sample so that you can sort of code the machine and then treat the patient accordingly. But you're not. You are literally treating a piece of fingernail.
Yes.
And I'm pretty sure the skeptics among us will be going, ah, come on. I mean, which I think I was probably part of that old school thinking many years ago. But if we think like that, then progress never happens and advancement never happens. But this is incredible to think that you could treat somebody wherever they are
Mm.
based on having a sample of their DNA with you. They don't even need to be connected to it. That just blows my mind.
Yes. And then it also opens up the idea that, you know, in as much as there are healing frequencies, you also get damaging frequencies,
Mm.
and how can that be used against people? And
Mm.
um, not sounding alarmist, but those are thoughts that we have to keep in mind um, when we work with frequency medicine. You
Yes.
can go both ways.
Mm.
Um, so yeah, this is a bit of a mind bend. Yes,
So
Malika.
Sepia, um, simplify for us what happens when you
Hmm.
put the nail in the machine. So if you simplify what is happening in that moment, because like you said, the principle is that, it's your DNA or your molecules, your
Hmm.
energy is still attached to the nail. So simplify
Yes.
for us what happens in that
Okay.
process.
So as the frequencies then go through the machine into the fingernails, the principle of quantum entanglement then says those atoms that are being treated are going to vibrate at that frequency that we are sending in, which means your body, because it's linked, is going to be vibrating at that same frequency, or that same frequency will be then being sent into your body. And the frequencies that we use are then programmed by the practitioner. And that's where the software takes quite a bit of time to learn, because it is quite complex. And I think the current version has about 52,000 programs in it.
Mm.
So knowing which programs to run is really important. And also knowing that you can't just start running, you have to support the body through a bit of a detox process as well before you can just go and kill things.
Mm.
Um, so it is, you are going to be vibrating at that frequency. Now, there's a bit of an easier way to understand this, and this is when we get to the level that's one bit stronger, uh, um, and this is having the physical rods. So the rods would be plugged into the machine, and you can feel these. That feels like it's shocking you because it is sending the frequencies through you using electricity. So this makes more sense. Uh,
Mm.
in how you experience the frequencies. It's exactly the
Mm.
same. It is about 10 times stronger than the remote system, but you of course are then connected to a machine, so you can't be moving around. So time is a challenge. So what I usually do is people can at times come for a boost, and then afterwards they do the support program.
Mm.
So what would be interesting, Siepia, is to use the same candidate who you tested the kidney from,
Hmm.
to have them do both tests. And if you've already done that, where they do the test in your facility holding the
Mm.
rods, and then you've also got the measurement of the remote test that you ran for a month. It would be very interesting to compare the two.
Yeah, yeah, that's something that I should actually run and see how they respond. Yeah.
Mm.
Um,
Um, it's
mm,
the same as the one I've got. It has a similar principle. The NLS software through the vagus nerve with a
yes,
headphone.
yes, yes. The NLS system is also very, very cool, and so you get many different pieces of hardware and applications that you can use.
If,
And yeah.
sorry, Marika, I wanted to just say, if we are so easily influenced by frequency,
Hmm.
which going skin deep into this topic, it sounds as if we are, okay?
Hmm.
As a being, we are affected by frequency.
Hmm.
It starts to give meaning to the activists who are forever going on about cell phones, Wi-Fi, towers, electricity pylons, anything, EMF,
Hmm.
frequencies. I'm sitting here at home now. I mean, I've got an aircon that's on behind me, creating some nice heat. I'm connected to the Wi-Fi in my house that's fed with electricity. And I'm thinking, good grief, if my body is that susceptible to various frequencies, what am I doing at the moment, living like I am, that's either good or probably more likely bad for me?
Hmm. Yes, so we do treat a lot of people who have EMF sensitivities, and it is a thing. Um, it is such a difficult challenge, though, because you can't necessarily test for it. But I do have people who, if the Wi-Fi goes on by mistake, um, they come and they say, switch everything off, please. And if somebody plugs it back in while they're still here, they will feel it in the next room.
That's
And
just
so
Wi-Fi.
that's just Wi-Fi. Yes. But I use a 5G Wi-Fi system, so it is quite strong. But people are susceptible to that. I think it comes to your genetic predispositions as well that will make you express it worse than other people. And the
Yes.
sad thing is, most people, if they are EMF sensitive, are referred to psychiatric treatments because it's all in your head. You can't be
Sure.
feeling bad. Yeah. So it's such a sad challenge for people. But yeah,
I mean, I drove to Secunda recently this weekend, in fact, and on my way, I drove under these huge power lines where they were the really big, they looked like prehistoric monsters, those frames for power lines.
Mm,
And you know, as I drove in my car, as I drove underneath, I felt this heaviness, and I remember being conscious of it. The radio wasn't on. I wasn't on my phone. I was just driving through the peaceful scenery of Secunda, well, getting to Secunda, if that's peaceful. And it was just barren, dry land because everything's brown at the moment. It's winter here where we are in this area in Gauteng. But as I got to probably 20, 30 meters in my car, and I went under these massive rows of power lines, I felt something. Now, I know for a fact that if you go and stand and listen to those things, you can hear the mains hum, the
mhm.
bzzz. But there's definitely something to be said for this, and it's so sad that you mention it's almost on the extreme of being loony,
Yes.
or on the border of appearing as if you're a loony if you believe in this stuff. I think
Mhm.
that's very sad because you'd have thought by now we'd have some sort of research to back all of this up.
Yes, yes. And the research, because you can't necessarily do those double-blind placebo-controlled studies, are poo-pooed by a big community. And yet you sit with the people who do express these challenges. So it is a sad state.
Sepia, is it true to say that the human body has an immense capacity to adapt? It's just like you said, the epigenetics that can cause the sensitivity of it, where your body doesn't respond positively.
Yes, and I think those people who are more aware of the feelings are the ones affected. But that doesn't mean that we are not affected. We just don't necessarily feel the effects.
Mm.
So I'm an ox when it comes to the supplements, for example. I don't feel any different when I drink a handful of supplements, where other people would say, "Oh, wow, I have energy," or "I can focus so much." I just like, okay, whatever. Um, so it's the same with the electrical fields. Yes.
I'm going to throw a question at you here, and
Mm.
you can please be honest with us. We're not going to hold you to it, but your honest opinion. Do you think what we're talking about now is one of the reasons why there's such an increase or perceived increase in cancer?
It's not a perception of increase in cancer. So we used to see three, maybe four patients a month, new patients with cancer. Now we see three or four a week. So it's not perception, and we didn't go on a marketing drive at all. Um, yes, there's that link, and then there's also, of course, the link of COVID, where we have seen vaccine injuries happening over and over and over again. So it's a combination of the two, I think, and environmental toxicity, and we don't eat properly. So it's just the perfect storm for disease that's happening, or that has been happening over the past 4 or 5 years.
Mm. And like you said, just because we're not sensitive to it doesn't mean it doesn't affect us. Because if I
Mm.
understand correctly, energy carries information.
Mhm.
So what information are we receiving, without knowing it?
Yes, yes, and this. brings me to one of my favorite adapters for the machine, and it's the PEMF wand. And so this uses electromagnetic frequency or field to send about a 20 centimeter field into the person. So you have to hold it onto your body. My mother had a shoulder replacement 3 weeks ago, which is a notoriously painful exercise. And she went home and she was on pain medication for 2 days. So she has one of these at home, and I programmed it with a pain management protocol, including sending the energy or the frequency of morphine and ketamine into her body. She was on pain medication for 2 days.
What?
Yeah.
Can you do that? That's interesting.
You can. So that now brings us into the molecular weight. So every molecule has a frequency. And so you can stimulate or simulate the effect of a specific medicine or compound into the body. So you use either the wand, or you can use laser. You know, laser is my thing. So we use the lasers to shine it into the bloodstream, and you have the effect of the medicine. So at the moment, I am playing around with things like Ritalin.
Mm.
But I'm only doing that on myself because I am not a massive Ritalin fan, but the effect of Ritalin is phenomenal. And so I'm trying to see if I can get the good effects while negating the bad.
Those are medical applications, Siapia. I remember watching a movie, a sci-fi movie, where people no longer ate. They plugged themselves into this machine for like 5 minutes a day, and it basically simulated them having eaten. Could you do the same thing, do you think, with frequency, where you almost convince your body that you've eaten and that you've got nutrition in you? Do you think we'll ever get to that?
So one of the other applications is you can imprint the frequencies into things like a copper mug. And so I did another study that we're doing is an appetite suppressant that I put into holographic stickers, and the staff here are trying it out, and they forget to eat. That was the comment that I've been given. It's not that they're not hungry, they just don't eat. But when they take them off, or when they think, okay, I have to eat, it's not that you can't. The challenge is that even if you can now put frequencies into these small devices, your body still needs the building blocks. So I do not believe that we will be able to simulate a meal. Maybe in the future, yes, but definitely an appetite suppressant, anti-anxiety. So I'm already preparing for my dogs for Christmas and for New Year specifically, that they will be wearing anti-anxiety medallions around their necks so that the fireworks won't upset them as much. So those things are very possible, yes.
I mean, the benefits here, and I'm not a medical guy, but the benefits, I'm just thinking smoking, for instance, is a big one, smoking and vaping. To get somebody off of that, if you have that as a frequency in what you refer to now as a little medallion, I mean, crikey, the potential here is endless.
Yes, yes. And for me, it's powerful, but I'm also not going to be completely tree hugger and say, only do this. So the way that I use these therapies in the practice is very much on a supportive side. So while you are going through something and you are taking your medication and your supplementation and whatnot, we then help your body to get rid of toxins easier. We support the lymphatic system. So that's where I'm focusing on. I'm not ever going to say only use machines or only use frequencies. I think that you need to use the best of whatever you have available to you. And very personal thought is just that I think it is dangerous to just trust one modality.
But that's true of Western medicine as well, isn't it? Where we go to the pharmacy and pop pills, we're doing exactly the same thing, just with that modality.
Yes, yes. I was talking to somebody yesterday. The third highest leading cause of medical death in America is Western medication taken at the right dose for the right condition. But what happens is polypharmacy. So you go to your cardiologist and they put you on something, and you go to your psychiatrist and they put you on something, and then you go to a nephrologist and they put you on something, and that combination kills people, so much so that it's the third highest cause of death in the States at the moment.
Now, surely if that's a documented fact, there should be some legislation brought in to do that, or is it all about the money once again?
In this instance, I think it's about the complexity, because it is impossible to test every single combination of all medications and supplements out there.
Okay.
I would love to always point and say it's about the money, but in this instance, it is pure polypharmacy, and people don't necessarily know, because you get your herb or your drug interactions, and now an extra layer of complexity is your herb drug interactions and herb interactions. So, I think I've spoken about this before. One of the most dangerous things that you can take with medication is grapefruit, because
Yes.
grapefruit and most medications travel through the same detox pathway. So if you are on something like warfarin, the blood thinner, you have to be very careful because your blood is thin. And now you want to live healthily, and you eat grapefruit, and suddenly those two molecules fight to get out of the body, which means that the warfarin is in your body for 2 times as long as it should be. In effect, you've taken a double dose of warfarin.
That's very interesting, and I'm going to check that out because I take hypertension meds. And Zena also makes a health drink. Mary will know all about this, with grapefruit, orange, and lemon. And I don't have it as regularly as Zena does, but quite often I do. And I take my blood pressure tablets first thing in the morning, and I take this health drink first thing in the morning. So that's going to be something for me to look at. And I'm not sure what the components are of my particular blood pressure treatment offhand. I'm not taking a blood thinner in addition. I know my dad used to for many years. He took his blood pressure tablet and another. In fact, at one point, my mom, until not so long ago, was taking 12 tablets a day, Pierre. Can you believe that? So I understand what you're speaking about, where you take one thing for something, and that might be valid. I'm not going to dispute that. But then you end up taking something for something else, and before you know it, you've got this concoction. 12 tablets a day she was on. She made the mistake, I think, of course, of literally deciding overnight, that's it, she's done, and she stopped all of them, boom, at once, which anybody will tell you is probably equally as bad. But anyway, at least she's off them now. But yeah, this is a very interesting topic, and I know it doesn't speak specifically to our topic today of the Rife therapy, but I think that's something that people in this day and age should be mindful of, is just how many tablets you're putting down your throat, and not just tablets from a prescription. We're talking about multivitamins, supplement, perhaps an over-the-counter painkiller of sorts. I say we generally, people take a lot of tablets, and we don't even think about it.
Yeah, definitely. And that's why people think that we try and get patients into the practice, because you go to a Dischem or a Clicks and you look at this thing, oh, this is nice for this, and let me add this and add this. Another one that I usually tell people about is St. John's wort. So beautiful antidepressant, natural antidepressant, but it negates the pill. So a lady is on the pill, she feels a bit down, she drinks St. John's wort, and she might fall pregnant. Luckily, she'll have the St. John's wort, which is the antidepressant, but still, We don't need certain or need unneeded and unwanted children on this planet.
True.
Sure. That in itself, and I'm sure if you'd be a guy for that, or if you could refer us to someone, I think there's a topic here on the coaching hour for meds, just generally having a chat about meds. Because I'd heard loosely about the grapefruit and certain tablets. I'd never heard of the St. John's wort and pill. That's news to me. Not that I've ever taken the pill, of course.
So it's actually one of the modules that we teach medical doctors. So it's part of a master's degree that we're doing with a university in Germany, or for a university in Germany, is herb drug interactions and then herb interactions. It's quite a dry module because it's literally just lists and lists of things, but it is very interesting. It is, for example, if you're taking inositol which is ACC 200, and you are also on something indole 3 carbonyl, which is a broccoli sprout extract to help you detoxify bad estrogen. And if you take the two together, they cancel each other out. And so
Sure.
you have to split them at least 6 hours apart. So yeah, it's small things that you pick up, but really, really important.
Could I do that with the grapefruit?
Yes.
Could you have one in the morning and one at night, for instance?
Yeah.
Grapefruit and then the blood pressure tabs, or
Yeah.
from what you were saying, it isn't only warfarin that the grapefruit negates. There are other things as well because it's such a powerful fruit.
Yes. Well, not because it's such a powerful fruit, but because it gets detoxified through the same detox pathway. And I'm speaking under correction, but I think the fancy name is the cytochrome P450 pathway.
Yes,
So
that's correct. That's the one.
that's the one. Okay, thank you. Um, so it's not because of the strength, it is just because of the way that it exits the body.
Okay. Very interesting. And again, you see, we're never educated on these things, are we? And is that because our doctors don't know, or they just don't have the time to tell us? I mean, it actually makes sense now that this is the third leading cause of death in the US, is mixing all of this stuff together and not actually knowing what the outcome's going to be. That makes perfect sense now.
Yeah. So I think it's a combination that they don't know. Something like grapefruit is out there, and I know your more traditional GPs would tell patients that, uh, especially if they start on something like a warfarin. So that's more common knowledge, but the rest is extra study. And if you don't know that it's there, you don't know.
Yeah. Sure. You see why we love chatting with you. You are always just this mind full of interesting information. And I know very often we do go off topic, which I think we have done slightly today, but you've certainly created a very good understanding in my mind anyway for what this what did you refer to it as? Rife therapy,
Rife Therapy.
named
Yes.
after the person.
Yes. Dr. Royal Raymond Rife.
Royal Raymond. Was his first name Royal?
Mhm.
Strange name.
Royal Raymond Rife. Yeah.
Interesting.
Hmm.
CP, for what can this Rife therapy work? Is it only physical illnesses, or for what can it help?
I think anything, because you can energize the body. You can work on, yes, the physical. The coin that I'm playing with is a brass calming coin. So I'm trying to not take a strong anti-anxiety medication, for example. And yeah, so I didn't program any medicine into this. I programmed the energies of calm, including the Schumann resonance, which is the Earth's resonance, so to help me ground. So you can go into the more esoteric as well. There are people doing studies on the person's name is David Halliday. So the Halliday protocols are more on energy systems. So protecting your aura, cleansing your aura, also protecting the energy field from negative interference. So, I mean, that's the very esoteric, um, but there is still, I think, a lot of validity to that. I mean, we have the energy body that we send out, and it is affected. So yes, you can do much more than just physical work.
Yeah, but there's also the sound frequency that does the same thing, the
Yes,
healing.
yes. So sound frequencies, the adapter isn't. Oh, there's the sound frequency adapter for the machine. So you don't necessarily hear the sound frequencies, but you can use it, and you get apps even that sense those frequencies through your phone. Um, And Mary, just before you spoke about that, our groundsman here, Ntate David, he's in his 80s, and he won't mind me sharing his story. 2 weeks ago, he came with me and his finger was very much swollen up with the arthritis, and he said, I can't use the hammer at the moment. And I gave him I programmed him an arthritis sticker, and that was the Friday. The Monday, the finger was almost flat.
Yo.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it is possible.
And it's
I
not
don't
flat because he hit it with the hammer.
I don't think so. He would have come with the bandage back on then, but but I did give him anti-inflammatory cream as well. So I will never say it was just that, but it happened a lot quicker than what it was supposed to happen. Yeah.
Do you think, last question from me, do you think that this will always remain on the periphery of what we refer to as medical science or treatment protocols? Or do you think there will be a time where things like this Rife therapy actually become the norm, where
I
shoving pills down our throat now is the norm? But is that just because of money? Is it because of marketing? And obviously, I don't expect you to answer that question, but what do you think the future holds in this space?
I do believe it's going to become more and more acceptable, and even if not embraced by the medical community at large. Um, a freaky thing to me is how many Dominie's wives in the Free State use the Spooky 2 machine, and they help people through that. Yeah, it was, um, when I took the machine to my parents the first time, Mom told me about three that she knows of, and in the community, they are helping people. So I feel I've got mixed emotions about that. You can do a lot of good, but also you could. I don't think with these machines you can necessarily do a lot of bad, but you can do so much better if you have a bit of training and if you have a background where you would say, okay, you are having a sinus problem. Let's run some sinus programs, but also add the frequency of an N-acetylcysteine with a bit of omega-3 because that'll help. So, but it's just different ways of application.
Hmm. I almost feel like we're having a conversation now that people may have had about medicine today that is accepted 40, 50 years ago. Because 40, 50 years ago, medicine that we're now using without even thinking about it was also pioneering. It was new,
Yes.
it was untested, people were poo-pooing it. And now I'm sure there are many things that we take where the person at the time never realized it would become so intrinsic or so intrinsically part of our lives. And I think this is a technology that could be the same, where in
Mhm.
future generations, whether it's 2, 3, 5, 10, this is how you treat people, and that's the norm. I honestly believe it could go that way.
Mm.
Same.
Well, can I say something? When you look at empires, you have great empires, and then over a period of time, people get wise, and there's the fall of the empire. And I think this is going to be the same thing.
Mm. Yeah,
Yeah.
well put, Mary. Well put.
Mm.
The
I
fall of the
cut.
pharmaceutical empire.
So funny thing, I don't think it should necessarily fall because pharmaceutical medicine is phenomenal at what it should be doing, and that is acute medicine. If you break your arm, you still want morphine, or now the frequency of the morphine, but the morphine is a good thing. It's just when it's misapplied to chronic states that the pharmaceutical industry oftentimes falls short. And that's where the more natural approach is. That's where lifestyle is the most important thing when you come to chronic management.
Yep, 100%. And unfortunately, many people view it as, oh, I don't have time to change my lifestyle, so I'll just pop a pill.
Yeah, it's easier to change your religion than to change your lifestyle.
Sure. Sure. On that bombshell, any more questions, Marika, Mary?
No, I think if someone is listening, that wants to try something else that they are from what they're used to, how do they go about, Sepia, to get hold of this type of therapy?
Okay, so we are creating a new company, a new brand basically for this approach. So they can go to the website integrativebio.co.za.
Integrative Bio, bio.co.za.
Yeah. So the company is Integrative Biofields, and we are looking at all the toys, the hydrogen enriched water bottles and things like that, which we didn't talk about. But so it's all about the biohacking and all the nice new words that people are using.
Wonderful. Well, I'm so glad that Marika set you up as our guest for this edition of the Coaching Hour, Sepia. Honestly, every time you speak, I hang on your every word because you're so filled with knowledge and interesting facts and figures and things. And it's such a pleasure having you on this podcast. So thank you for your time once again.
No, thank you. I love coming and chatting and sharing.
Wonderful. Thanks, folks. Thanks for joining us for the edition
Thank
of
you.
the Coaching Hour. Thank you, Mary, who is at the airport. I hope you get to where you're going safely. Marika, shame. Marika's been a little bit quieter than normal today because she isn't feeling well. We're attributing that to the Johannesburg change of weather. Maybe Sepia can give you some stickers or a medallion or something and sort that out.
Send me your nails.
Yeah. Guys, thank you very, very much. It was a wonderful podcast. And thank you for listening and watching and joining us. We'll look forward to your company in the next one. Bye for now.